podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
So this is Steve Winter, and you're listening to THACO's Hammer.
Yoinks! And away!
Basic.
Yoinks! And away!
First edition.
Yoinks! And away!
And then...
I says, Pigpen, this here's a rubber duck, and I'm about to put the hammer down.
Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn AD&D 2nd edition podcast ever. Anyway. Yeah, so that's cool. Drunken style anything? Or particular drunken style?
No, it'll be drunken style. It's just going to be a generalized form. I think I'm just going to use the soft version.
Oh, okay. That'll work. Whatever. Hi, folks. DM Glen here, THACO's Hammer. This is Splat Book number 36. We've got a little time before the game, so we will get going here. And we have with us DM Corey.
What's going on, everyone out there?
Thank you, Corey. We also have DM Full On Gamer.
Greetings, Gamer Nation. And we're at it again.
And what we don't have is DM Brian. Poor baby's sick, so we're going to get
He failed his save.
Well, I'll just run his character, that's all. You did what? I can hear it now from next week. You did what? Well, you know, the Tarrasque had to step somewhere, and you were right under his foot, so... You know.
But right before that, we figured the best person for the group, for the belt of masculinity, femininity, would be your character.
That's true, and I'm sorry about the, mind swap with the, I'm sorry your mind is in a jar now.
But, dude, you found all the traps for us, and we thank you so much. Your fighter was invaluable.
Yeah. Well, see, if we can't resurrect you, we will dedicate money to your temple.
But as the wizard, I am working on a golem to push around the wheelbarrow that your fighter will sit in.
Great. All right, let's go to hits and crits.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque, Louie's Paradise, miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits. Hits and crits. Okay, time for what we did during the week. You know what? I'm going to go first this time.
Go first, Glenn.
Still no gaming, of course. We put the basic game on stall for a while, but got some more goodies from Half Price Books.
Awesome. What'd you get?
Since we were talking about Player's Option Combat and Tactics today, I got a copy. And not only that, at the same time, I got a copy of the Wilderness Survival Guide and the Dungeoneers Survival Guide.
Always nice. Always nice.
$8 a piece.
Wow. I'm surprised that they're still in the single digits now that the news came out about the reprinting of first edition. I
went there and some guy sold off all his 1E stuff. They were all here. I had most of them, so I didn't want them. But it's like $8, yeah, $8, yeah, $8, yeah. Okay, fine. I'm taking these before they become like 25 each.
Good deal. Yeah. Good deal. Nice deal.
And they're clean. Nobody's written in them except me. The Player's Option book looks like it's never been used. Well, I have a compulsion now that I'm older to write my name in the books, because say, these are mine.
I put a biohazard stamp in all of mine.
That'll work. I write my name and my email address because those are the only two things that don't change. Phone numbers change, addresses change, email addresses don't change. So what you been doing, Full On?
Well, I haven't done any tabletop gaming, but I did, while I was down in Houston, get to do some sit around the table and prototype playtest with the Ukaduk distribution staff.
Oh?
Because their warehouse is down there, and got to play with one of their prototype versions, just about to go to print for a card game called Kill the Overlord.
Kill the Overlord.
Yes. Beer and pretzels kind of card game thing.
That sounds very interesting. I like the title alone.
Yeah. Sounds like some cheap-ass games would do.
Yeah, they have stuff out there. You go to Ukaduk, that's the people who distribute for Order of the Stick. The people who just had the $1.25 million Kickstarter drive successfully.
Wow.
Yes. Gamers in the news. Making news. Hell yeah.
Now What is the Order of the Kickstarter? Is that like a calendar or
No, Order of the Stick by Rich Burlew webcomic. He decided he needed to do a Kickstarter to reprint a book. He thought he needed $57,000 to reprint a book. He got that the first day, and it kept going, and they topped out at over $1.25 million pledged, with all books being reprinted and a ton of swag in the works.
Yeah, from his beachfront house now.
I mean, news articles in Forbes and all kinds of other stuff about what Kickstarter can do for the indie press publisher.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
So
I go on a blog without hearing about some Kickstarter project out there. First of all, what I really wanted to get into was the Dungeon Dice. I missed that.
Well, D20 Radio also has their Gamer Nation Studios pilot Kickstarter program for their initial foray into the market with Edition Wars. Not that Edition Wars would be something that the 1E, 2E, 3E, OSR gaming crowd would have any interest in whatsoever. By now.
What's that, a board game?
Card game.
Yep.
Card game.
Yep.
Okay.
And the upper tiers of pledging can get you an exhibitor badge at Gen Con.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. And your face in the game.
Okay, I think we shilled long enough. Follow them, folks. They're a lot of fun, and they can get you some good stuff. Like I know what I'm talking about. Hey, Corey, what you been doing?
Well, as a matter of fact, to keep the timeline proper, about 20 minutes ago, we just finished another session of D&D, second edition for all those out there listening. The secondary group decided to forego the assault on the estate of the slightly evil Baron and decided to, well, mainly because their paladin, the monk, and the fighter are all missing from the party. So essentially we have a cleric, a bard, and a fighter mage left. So essentially they're like, yeah, let's go do something else. Let's go into town. So they went into town, picked up a rumor, picked up a small side quest, decided, oh, we're going to pick up these other two people who happen to be related to two of the players that actually showed up tonight. So they made characters and joined in. And in the process, at their approximate level, they came across a Fomorian giant, and he cleaved the bard in half while playing his lute.
Music critic.
It was exactly.
I like salute. Twang.
And just for those out there that know me as an evil DM, I'm not. It was not me. It was my dice. I did not do it. It was the dice, and I actually fudged a couple rolls behind it to keep him alive beforehand. So I felt bad, but hey, this is what happens. So he joined the Wall of the Dead, which I still have to take a photo and put it up on our forum. But yeah. I like to draw cartoon characters on the character sheet with a Sharpie on how each of them died. So, yeah, it's kind of funny. But yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, I'll draw this template of a gravestone where you can write in the name and how they died.
Yeah.
Each of them. Just print that on the sheet instead of the character sketch.
By far, no one has still beat the picture of the giant barbarian from the north who's a statue, and he's on fire, and he happens to be in the garden of a dragon. So that's the top so far. No one's beat that one yet.
I'd love to put a caption on that. Put a thought bubble. Hey, it could be worse. Or it's a living.
Hey. Technically, being petrified in a dragon's lair is the way to be the party member that survived.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what's funny? Everyone else did die in that campaign. That was a TPK because the elf decided to destroy some magic items in a cave.
Hey, he's one stone to flesh or dispel magic away from being a continuing character. That's all you got to say.
This is true.
It's true. They'll always, knowing you, they'll go back into their garden. Some other characters will go back in that garden and find that barbarian.
Yep.
Still in stone and still on fire.
Well, the problem with a lot of DMs out there that I find when I'm sitting at a table is they won't put anything up against you in their world that they don't think that you could overcome. In my world, it's just like this world. If you walked butt naked with a small little sword or a dagger through the woods in the Cambodian jungles, there's stuff there that will eat you. You're not going to go, Well, they won't put anything in here that'll hurt me. The world is a living thing. So you know what? If you decide we're not going to walk through sneak in the front door of this castle, we're going to sneak through the sewers and end up around the 7th or 8th sub-level below it and start picking around, and you're only 3rd level, you might want to think twice about that. The world's constantly living. No one goes, well, we can go down in the sewers. Ain't nothing down there that's going to hurt us. A DM won't do that. No, there's places you don't go.
I admire your opinion and want to subscribe to your publication. I like it!
And you're not going to the North Texas RPG Con, right? Right?
Oh, I'm not.
Good. Oh, good. Okay. Okay. I'm safe.
I'm still planning to move to Lawton as of the 10th of June,
I
so...
heard. Okay. I heard.
I would be closer.
And we have... we also have some emails. We got one from Harmbringer, Travis. He says, hey, all. Got another one for you all. 2 friends of mine and I have started a 2E game. One is an Elven Ranger and the other a Dwarf Priest. Ooh. It was a real pain to make a story for an Elf Ranger and a Dwarf Priest to get together. The guy with the Elf has played RPGs before, but not D&D, and the guy with the Dwarf has not. So, I house ruled that some of the second level stats... I house ruled them some of the second level stats just to give them a little easier time in the game. I'm slowly bringing the core rules so around 4th or 5th level, they'll be playing full 2E. So I gave the priest bless, turn undead, and heal right off the bat, but I gave this guy the priest and dwarf splat book to read. So should I tell him to start praying to his god and make him play the priest, or let him run around not knowing he has these gifts because I did lend him the books and he said read? The reason for the question is my 24 years in D&D I have played, even the new people figure out the priest needs to pray. I have let this guy go for 2 sessions now, and he hasn't prayed once. Should I strip him of his priesthood and make him a fighter? Anyways, keep the dice on the table. Travis Harmbringer Nicholson. PM, I'm Mel's Acid on OSR forums and Planet AD&D. All right, comments?
Okay.
And thank you, Harmbringer, for sending that in.
Yeah, thanks, Harmbringer. We love the emails. Keep them coming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think, full on?
Well, 1. Do
Here we
not
go.
tie yourself to the elf and dwarf stereotypes. Yes, I know. Dirt diggers and tree huggers aren't supposed to get along stereotypically. You don't have to be handcuffed to that. You have every reason in the world to say an elf and a dwarf run around together. Look at Gimli and Legolas. Look at the elf, dwarf, and were-tiger on Commission Comic. There's reasons for them to run around together all the time. Don't worry about it. You can get it together really easy. 2nd, have you mentioned to him, if he's a first-time player for D&D, that as a priest, the way to get your spells back is to pray for your spells?
Yep.
That would be your first tip. Otherwise, a lot of characters kind of don't necessarily pray or hold ceremonies for the priests in the party unless they want to make it part of the role play for the situation. I've run lots of dwarf priests before, and let's see, you go with your stereotypical Forgotten Realm dwarf priest. Their holy water is beer, so as long as they're drinking, they're praying. Their chosen option is battle, so as long as they're fighting, they're praying. Especially if he's a priest of Clangeddon, boot to the head.
True.
I mean, you can go with it as far as you want and as far as he wants. Just if he's new, if you're handing a new character a spellcaster class, a new player to the game, giving them a spellcaster class, normally you just hand them the fighter. But if you want to jump into the deep end and give them a spellcaster class, whether it's a mage, an illusionist, a priest, or whatever, you need to give them a brief down on the basic rules of spells, spell use, and spell reacquisition. He doesn't have to go around prostylizing the dwarf priesthood around, but if he needs to be praying just to get his spells back, you should mention that to him. As far as stripping of his priesthood, unless you think that he's just not suitable to play a priest and needs to run the gauntlet of the newbie player and start with the fighter, maybe step into thief, and then look into priesting or maging, that's just the way things go. Next.
Okay. You got anything, Corey?
To continue his analogy that he used there, or
You mean
whatever you
rant?
want to call it. No, you're gonna throw him into the deep end with a cleric and give him a spellcaster to start off his experience into role playing. You're gonna need to realize that you're gonna need to be his floaties, and dwarfs don't swim that well anyway.
Yeah.
So what I would have done first of all, you have a dwarf and a cleric. You have a dwarf cleric and an elven fighter. He said
Ranger.
Okay, it doesn't matter why they're grouping together. You're the DM. You can explain why. Hey, the dwarf's dad saved the elf's dad in a battle one time, and they became best buddies. And you always knew that he had a son out there. It doesn't matter why. You can make it up. You can make the reason why, or you can just say, "You guys know each other from a long time ago. You're friends. Let's move on." Yeah. Depending on how in depth you want to make the background and the reason why, you don't have to make it a big deal.
You both knew a human who died of old age.
There you go. Whatever you want to do is can explain why they are together. As far as the elven ranger who's played role play games before but never D&D, if he's played role play games before, was there a caster in the party? Was there a cleric in the party or in the game that he played? If there was some sort of cleric that needed to pray or some way wizards read their books, whatever, you could also use the elf. You could be like, have him nudge the other player and go, dude, tell the DM you're going to pray for spells. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Thanks. You could also start doing some I hate doing it, but some railroading and some nose pulling by going, okay, so you guys make camp. You're praying for your spells, right? And he'll go, oh, yeah, I'm praying for my spells. Do that about 3 or 4 times, and eventually he'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do my spell thing. And eventually he'll catch on. New players might need that little bit of nose pulling, like, come on, this way, let's go. Just till you can get them to where you want him to properly play the character. As far as stripping,
making no mistake, this is no way railroading. This is helping.
Yeah, exactly. You're putting him on the tracks, if you want to use a railroad analogy. But anyway, stripping him
bringing him to the station.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Stripping of his clerical abilities, I'd ask the guy, do you want to play a cleric? If he's like, yeah, I want to play a cleric. Say, then if you want to play a cleric, these are the things you need. Grab that pencil in front of you in this piece of paper. In capital letters at the top of the page. Must pray to regain spells every day. Write that on the top. Now, these are the other notes that a cleric is needed to do. If he's like, man, forget this. This is too hard. Say, fine. Here's a fighter with a couple potions of healing. You're good to go. Let the player choose. I mean, if he wants to try the cleric and he's like, no, I don't want to play a fighter. They're boring. I want to play a cleric. They got spells and shit. Then go, in order to keep your spells, you must pray. What I do to one of my characters or one of my groups that have a couple newbies in, when they make camp and stuff, I'll write on a 3x5 card and fold it in half to hang over top of my DM screen that says, have you prayed and studied your spells today? Do that about 2 or 3 times when they make camp. You'll start seeing them going, oh, yeah. What you might want to do, though, to give him notice, if he's too thick-headed to remember to do these things, start making the spells fail.
Ooh,
start going, okay, I'm going to do Cure Light Wounds. Okay, you get 1 hit point. Well, wait, doesn't the book say that I get to roll? Normally, when you're in favor of your god and your god's listening to you because you're being good and praying, you get to roll die. When you don't, you don't. Oh, shit, maybe I should...
That's even more generous than just nothing happens because you have to pray for new spells.
Well,
the other thing is another
new player. That's what I'm saying. If it was a veteran who was just being ignorant and forgetting, I would totally be like, nope, nothing. Nope, you get nothing. Nope,
the other good thing is you don't have to necessarily do this house rule of artificially boosting them to levels they're not at to give them spells that they don't normally have access to. There are other ways to do that work just as well, and you could be entirely within rule instead of having to house rule it. You can give him a wand that has 4 charges. Mm-hmm. You could give him a couple of potions. Potions can be administered by everybody just in case the cleric goes down.
And they also down better with a beer.
Low-tier magic items around it. It's not like if you give them a wand of heal with 4 charges in it, they're suddenly going to get that thing full up and have all 50 charges of the wand in it. Maybe it's capped at 10. Even if it isn't, they don't have enough money until they get up in levels to pay to have a wand recharged, if you even allow wands to be recharged.
Or
so
even to find out
give
what
them
it is.
some disposable magic items that are dispensable, disposable, and going to wear out. One-shot use items that will cover that learning phase for them.
And the thing that scrolls. Clerics love scrolls.
Yeah.
You know,
Well.
find those. Let them find those scrolls with those spells on them. You know, when that bugbear is bearing down on him, you bet your butt he's going to use that scroll. Whole monster, boom, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to increase the levels and level cap him just so he feels like, man, I really wish I could do some really big damage. Well, you got to learn to properly play your character at low level to live long enough to get to high level so that you can enjoy the things that you want to do right now, but you can't do it. In order to do that, you're going to need to learn how to do your spells properly.
And the reason that they make your disposable magic items and your depletable one-shots and stuff like that is so that someone can have spells at lower levels than they would normally have. If you can cast Regenerate, you just cast Regenerate. For the 9 levels that you're playing before then, you're probably paying out the nose for a Wand of Regeneration, a Staff of Curing, or somebody's Spell Scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we have one more email. But thank you.
Thanks,
Harmbringer.
Good luck with those dudes, and you don't have to coddle them, but you do have to guide them.
And remember, threaten them at the end. If nothing else works, say, look, at least you're not in DM Core or DM Full-On's game.
That's true. Going on.
Did I do that loud?
Our next email is from Eduardo Alvarez. Hey, guys. Just finished listening to the latest episode. Good job. Regarding Rakshasas, there's an adventure for Ravenloft featuring one, RM3 Web of Illusion. Basically, the party must confront a Rakshasa who also happens to be the domain lord. Ouch. It's very good and features Rakshasas' use of illusion to mess with their victims. Regarding their virtual invulnerability, Rakshasas, in my opinion, tend to be the kind of monsters that are statted. Thank you. I knew that word was something. For the sake of consistency, and which players are not expected to be able to kill unless their special weakness is found. I'd use no more than 2 of them, perhaps using the players as pawns in a conflict between them. Anyway, keep having fun, Eduardo Alvarez. Thank you, Eduardo, for that email.
Gracias, Eduardo.
Versus alliteration.
Yes. That's right. Go back to school. Rakshasas.
Rakshasas. Yes.
I still think they should be the big bad for the final encounter only, unless you want to, send out, little inklings of what he can do by maybe subtly messing with their mind from a distance.
I think more that he was getting towards is, I mean, you had some great ideas, Eduardo. One of the main ways that you can use them effectively is those illusions. Oh, dude, Rakshasa, think about it. It's a tiger, right? Tiger trap. There's spikes all over his freaking house. That's an illusion of a floor right there. He doesn't need it when there's nobody around, but if he knows that the PCs are around, I'm just going to do an illusion of a floor right there. Wow. He's going to use illusions in his environment to help him out. And yeah, that's right there makes him deadly enough to the fact that, he can harm PCs and they don't even know he's there. So,
another thing I've done with illusions is, you start doing those major creations where you start bringing in hordes and swarms of, I'm attacking you with 7 guys, but you see 15.
Yep.
And I'm just rolling saves and nobody knows why, and people just buy it and go with it until somebody makes a save. I pulled this off with some Glabrazoos and some other demons on an ocean-going vessel, and the party just wanted to stab me in the face after they were done. Once they realized that they were only being attacked by 9 or 10 critters instead of the 150 that were swarming the ship.
And if you really want to be cruel, I just thought of the perfect pet for a Rakshasa. Have him have a couple of displacer beasts.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew
it. or maybe a, I don't know.
What's that little brain devourer thing? What's that thing called?
Intellect devourer.
There you go. Give him one of them as a footstool.
Oh, jeez. That's gilding the lily right there, I think. But I can see him sitting on a throne with these 2 displacer beasts by his side. He's petting them, talking to the PCs.
Couple of monkey demons and devils.
Couple of monkey demons and devils. I'm having a hardest time with names today. There was what I want to say a Lamassu, but I don't know. Anyway,
You mean a Lemura?
you get the idea. Master of Illusions, my God. If he finds out, say, no illusionist is in the party, he'll have even more fun.
And remember, anytime that they get into a BBG fight with this guy and they think they're actually fighting that guy, 9 times out of 10 they're not. They're fighting the illusion of him. That he's somewhere else controlling.
I think the illusionist could figure it out, but he's probably way lower in level than the Rakshasa. Yeah. And it's like, oh boy, I could do stuff and I can blame it on him.
Yep.
Do something for the. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that Ravenloft campaign or adventure that he spoke of, that is a rather nasty, nasty campaign. And it's the fact that you're showing, you show the big BEG, and it's the fact that they know it's going to be a fight throughout that whole thing because it is actually the Domain Lord. And it honestly, it's one of the games that actually got me emotionally, like I was actually pissed at this thing. I'm like, no, I'm not kidding. This thing needs to die. It's a great, great adventure. So, yeah. Thanks, Eduardo.
Yeah, thanks, Eduardo. And that's it for the email. And you guys can email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Or you can give us a voicemail at
405-806-0555.
You've been away, but you haven't forgotten. Thank you, Corey.
And you can also post at d20radio.com forum.
Do the list. I'll do the list. D20radio.com forum, OSRgaming.com, purpleworm.com, dragonsfoot.org, nutkinland.com, Planet AD&D. Did I forget anything? I don't think so, except for Facebook and Twitter. And all those places are good. Okay, so let's head into the meat option package.
My personality undergoes a startling change.
You should meet me because I'm a great guy.
I like big fat men like you. When they fall, they make more noise. And sometimes they never get up.
Option package.
Option package. Okay, this show we are talking about, the Splat book, is about another player's option book, Combat and Tactics. TSR number 2149. And the main writers on this one is Rich Baker and Skip Williams. Old 2E hands. And I'll leave Corey to comment on the art.
That's exactly my first thought.
Yes. What I like what they did. Okay, let's get this out of the way here. What I like about the art is they took the guy's black and white art, and it's like they did like some kind of watercolor 4-color thing in here.
I mean, over his artwork?
Yeah, over his artwork, and it looks really cool. I really like it. It's not as shiny and everything as like the plates.
You're talking about Ken Frank's artwork, right?
Yeah, Ken Frank's. It's like,
okay.
This is cool.
I like his campaign pictures. Not his campaign. I like his characterizations and his artwork. But something about I gotta say this, dude. I hate critiquing other people's artwork because I feel like I'm living in a glass house throwing stones. But every single one of this guy's pictures that I've found here, especially the chick on the horse on page 21, you got the guy being attacked by kobolds on page 45. No matter what they're doing, everybody's smiling. Everybody's smiling. If you look at the photo, even the guys on
is not smiling on 23. The troll is smiling because he's about to have halfling for dinner.
Yeah, but the halfling just looks like he's sleeping. He doesn't have any emotion. He's just like, oh yeah, there's a troll. He's gonna step on me.
Yeah, I know. I looked at the page 21, and it looks like it looks like a blonde Kardashian on a horse smiling for the camera while she's beating people's heads in.
But all the guys down below, it looks like an SCA reenactment. Everybody's smiling, and everybody's like, hey, dude, what's up? I'm going to hit you with a sword. Here it comes. I mean, his artwork's great, and I like the coloring. It's just, I look at his pictures, and I'm like, yep, that person's smiling. Yep, they're smiling, too.
Love that girl. It's like, I'm falling off my horse. Is my hair right?
But yes, the artwork in here is nice. I do like the artwork, and the layout is just as every other second printing book.
Irritating.
Anyways,
It's fine for what it is.
Yep.
Okay, the meat of it is, as it's right there on the package, combat and tactics. You got a whole bunch of things on combat. The battlefield, combat, a whole slew of combat options. My favorite, Chapter 5, unarmed combat. Finally, we get some actual people are actually breaking it down. Whether it's good or not, I'll get to that in a minute.
Right.
More weapons and armor, and I just love the weapons and armor tables in the back.
Yeah,
it's like the definitive.
Yeah, they did increase it more. A lot of the changes are impressive.
You get another critical hit system. You get details on siege warfare and siege weapons. You get different ways to use monsters. It's got useful meat for everybody.
With actual photos in here of a desk or a tabletop.
Yep.
I'm sorry. No,
I'm with you on that. I was going to say one of the cool things I did like about this book, though, are the actual diagrams with minis on a tabletop displaying for you what they're explaining. So instead of just reading a chapter and going, let me see how that works, they actually show you how it works. It's actually impressive.
Okay. Now, the downside to the book, it's player's option. No, that's not the downside to the book is sometimes it gets in a little too much detail than I'm comfortable with.
Well, again, the thing you got to remember with all the player's option stuff, they're giving you a lot. You don't have to use it all.
Right.
You're not really supposed to use it all. I have used it all. It's hard. But if you pick the pieces you want, you have awesome tools at your disposal.
Yeah, but the pieces that are there sometimes go into more detail than I need. That's what I'm saying. Like the dueling rules. It's like, what's the diagram? People, this, that, and the other thing. Isn't there a simpler way? I keep saying, isn't there a simpler way to do this? I mean,
there is.
That was one.
Yeah, it's just called fight.
Don't use it.
True. Okay, better example, the unarmed combat rules. I was so happy to see unarmed combat other than you roll on a table and this is what you do. That's not what I want to do. This is what you do.
Right.
From 1E. But at the same time, I'm going, why we have to do opposing rolls, and depending on who, it sounds like we're playing blackjack to punch somebody.
Yeah. A quick overview for those of you out there listening who don't have this book or have access to the book. The intro on the Chapter 1 page just lets you know that the player's option combat system, integrated set of rules. It's an advanced set of skirmish rules designed to add detail and flavor to battles. A lot of it is just as the title explains, it's options. You don't have to use it. And to me, any of these black-bound, yellow-worded second edition books that they're optional are just that. They're optional. There's some in here that I've taken and I'm using, and I love them. Other things in here, it's kind of like, to me as a DM, I don't expect every single wizard at my gaming table to tell me how many pieces of cotton and how many cobwebs and how many small pieces of clay discs that they have in their spell components. I don't get that detail when I'm doing my wizards or my spellcasters. I don't want to hear, stop the adventure, stop the campaign. We're in town. I need to run and go get 5 pieces of clay, and I need to go get some spider webs. Why? Well, my spell components are almost out. You have spell components. They're there. We glance over them. A lot of the things in this book, a lot of DMs will glance over, but the options are here if it's something you don't want to glance over. And that's what's great about it.
And if anybody comes up with the weird oddball questions, the weird role-play adventure choices that people come up with when they're swashbuckling their way through things and you weren't sure what your house rule could or should be, a lot of them are answered in here. Things that you can do in combat on the battlefield to answer someone trying to do something weird.
Yep, perfect example, just of pulling one right out of the book here. You're fighting, your characters are fighting somebody on horseback. Well, they attack the horse instead. There's no rules for that in the book, in the player's handbook and the DM's guide. This gives you unhorsing somebody, a mounted enemy. These are the options that sometimes don't always come up, like Full On was saying, that you're like, well, I don't know where the rule is of that. Well, it's in here.
Yeah. Well, and
taking cover is in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair to the book, though, I myself want everything to be simple. because I'm working with basic also now, and in fact that's spilling over into my 2E, because I looked at the armed combat. I'm glad they elaborated on armed combat finally, but at the same time I'm going, why can't we just run a combat without weapons? We can look at the book and see what a punch does, or what a punch with a sap does, or a punch with a cestus does, or something like that, and just run it like that. There's the damage. Roll the hit. Do your initiative, that kind of thing, instead of doing all this, this, that, and the other thing. I think unhorsing. Okay, I hit the horse. Well, as a DM, I can go, okay, you do that much damage and roll the horse's dex. The dex is that. Okay, fine. The horse falls over, taking the rider with it.
Right.
Kind of thing. But I guess that's that's what they write the books for. So okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I told you my favorite / problem chapter. What's your guys' favorites in there? What do you like?
Full on. You want to go first?
Yes. No, that's my answer. Yes, I like most of the book. It's actually easier for me to say the part I don't have a great fan for, which would be like the extended dueling plot. That's about it.
Okay, hold that thought. How about you, Corey? What do you like?
The weapons table in this, there should be no player or DM that should ever have to go to any other book when looking for a weapon unless it's something exotic.
Here.
The weapons.
They have a lot of exotics in there.
Yeah. Also, a thing I like about that chapter is that they also break it down as per culture. Those of you fanatics out there and 2E fans that like the green books, the Celtic one, the Viking one, the Roman one, all those other ones, they have it broken down into what is available in that culture in that time frame if you're doing those era type games. I like that.
And time frame. All the way up to gunpowder.
I don't have that page. I ripped that out, threw it out. But anyways, the other thing I like, which I'm going to have to pause just like Full On did, one of the sections that I love and I hate, and I'll tell you the love I love, all D&D players out there with their salt past 10 years or even less, look for a critical hit chart tables.
Yes,
this book has crit hits.
It is.
I'm going to pause there because I'm also going to get into why I don't like that section, but we'll get into that after Glenn does his thing.
Well, having the section and how you use the section are two different things.
True. My actual problem, if we're going to get into it now, is the numbering.
The downside.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well, they mentioned that in the errata, by the way.
What's that?
Oh, that they had some critical hit charts that are titled incorrectly. The charts should be slashing, or.
Let me give you an example here. Okay, we'll go location of an abdomen. Abdomen. Wow, I'm picking up your disease, Glenn. Abdomen hit with a bludgeoning. It's a critical chart. We'll start near the bottom here. 11. Abdomen crush, no move or attack. Major internal bleeding. Fine. There's also a chart, by the way, girls and boys out there, about what the different types of bleeding they have in here. They have minor internal. They have, like I just said, major internal. And there's a chart of how many hit points per round that is. You go to 12. Abdomen crushed. Victim reduced to 0 hit points with a severe internal bleeding. Okay? So victim reduced to 0 hit points. That's 12. 13 or higher on a D20 roll. As per 12, above with triple dice damage. Excuse me, but he's reduced to 0. He had 84 hit points. You just reduced him to 0 hit points. What does doing triple the amount of damage you do if you do it down to 0 hit points?
Because that puts him into negs and you might kill them.
No, because it says as per 12 above, meaning victim reduced to 0 hit points.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. That's the problem I have. It's like, for example, you go to the slashing one and it's like number 12, victim dead, killed, and then 12. As per above with 12, but with triple dice damage. He's dead.
Some people, there are GMs out there, DMs out there who occasionally do things like, I will give you 1 XP per hit point of damage you cause. I don't care how you cause it, spells, melee, whatever. Mm-hmm. The damage you do, or a fraction of the damage you do, is worth a XP.
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
So having a number value to go with how much XP did I get for doing this is useful. Even with, it's like the torso chart has 12 torso crush, victim killed, 13 as 12 above with triple damage dice. Well, and 11 above is torso crush, victim reduces 0 hit points with severe internal bleeding. Okay, all three of those are mutually exclusive of he's dead or about to die. But depending on what you're doing XP wise, you can maybe find a different value for using that, or just edit the chart. Do something different.
And that's what I did. I actually cut out every single page and just glued them back together.
Full on's giving me flashbacks to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Don't even start me on that, my freaking rat killer.
But yeah, this is like the mother of all critical hit charts for D&D.
Yeah, it is. Really. It's very detailed. It's in depth. I do
good
like
hits,
it.
bad misses on steroids.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. In fact, they mentioned that article at the beginning.
Of course they did.
Which I put in my basic book. Wait till they find out. Oh boy.
Those of you out there in listening land that listen to us and you're not quite a second edition player, maybe you're playing the edition, third edition, which we do cover somewhat. No, we don't talk about that. But anyways,
steal from third edition shamelessly and admit it fully.
Right. You will notice if you go from third edition playing combat to looking at this book, you will see where the small seeds of third edition were planted into the corpse of second edition to make that plant of third edition.
Yes,
you'll see that the what do you call it? The nascent.
Nascent is yeah. I always have said that if you play full black book second edition D&D with players options in your hand, you're essentially playing 3E.
Yep.
So you can switch between the two of them, hands down, no problem.
Yep.
Interesting.
Anything I can do in 3E, I can do in 2E players option.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there you go. Oh, and just to harp on armed combat one more time, they have the dreaded attacks of opportunity in here. All you 3E people should know about those. They said a person who is brawling against an armed opponent, if he hits, he automatically assumes an attack of opportunity. Let's just call him free action for the other guy.
Yeah.
The example they give you, there were two people brawling, and one of them missed, and he said it gave an attack of opportunity. And I'm going, wait a minute. They're both brawling with no weapons in their hands. He should not have an attack of opportunity. So, anyway, there it is. All right. Anyway, this is what we're covering, and this was published in, what was it? It's got to be 1995? Five.
Yep.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, I've got the first printing, May 1995. So we're getting near the end of the line here, of course. That's when the players' options started to come out anyway. It was almost like they were priming people for 3E. It was weird. Anyway, let's go on to get a little more finesse here, a little more specific in people skills.
The face is familiar.
It's mine.
And so it is.
Oh, yes, of course. It stands out a mile, doesn't it? He's so common.
A little lady comes in here and starts throwing her butt around. What is that supposed to do?
All right, forget I said anything.
Maybe I will.
Well, that's pretty good.
But don't tell me you weren't looking at it.
Well, that's not half bad.
She's giving it right back to you.
People skills.
People skills. Weapon expertise and weapon mastery. Now, this goes back to the main book, right?
No, this is still all in player's option.
No, the base of specialization is touched on in the player's handbook, but if you're looking for detail, it's in this book.
Okay.
If you're looking for something that'll let you cover the non-fighters, it's in this book.
Yeah.
Page 70. Page 70 is Chapter 4, Weapons Specialization and Mastery. You're right. Wait a minute. They said they touched on mastery in the main book?
No. They touched on specialization.
I swore they elaborated on it in that book. Everybody
knows the rules of weapon specialization if you read the player's handbook, especially if you played a fighter. This in here goes in detail for those other classes. Yeah, exactly.
And makes your fighter even better.
Yes, it does.
True. This is true. They group them into weapons groups and character classes, etc., etc. I'm not even going to ask. I'm going to assume you guys have used this before.
Yeah.
Especially that guy.
I have not.
You have not?
I have not.
Oh, it's a juicy sauce that you will probably grow addicted to.
Yeah, it's for me. weapon specialization is something that is essentially the fighter's equivalent to mage's spells. Mage's spells make what a wizard is. Weapon specialization make a fighter what the fighter is.
Yeah.
I know that in here there are abilities to give other non-fighters some sort of weapon specialization or expertise, as they call it. And then for fighters, it gets even better. To me, that's the build upon build upon build upon build that third 3.5 is made of. What I like to call power gaming. And to me, this was, like I said, the birth of 3.5. I could smell it in the books, and I stepped away from it.
And I don't find it a bad thing.
Okay, but hey, to each their own.
I know.
Yeah, for me, I have not used it.
It does. I still feel that it's, especially when they talk about the power creep just in the straight game, where suddenly the high level mages and clerics totally outshine everybody else in damage output and capability in the battlefield. Right. It needed that touch of something else to give that fighter his place to shine again in a ever-changing world where they're always publishing more spells for the mages, but you can only say, I have a big sharp piece of metal so many ways.
This is true, and I agree with you.
Yeah, well, this goes all the way back to basic, actually. I mean, everybody knows, look in their RC, you'll see weapon specialization in there. It's an option, but yeah. And, they almost get into as much detail as this book does, as far as like that. But they emphasize it's an option.
Yep.
And I don't know if anybody.
And even if you don't go into the specifics of getting expertise and mastery, having the options to do some of the other things that are in here, like a style specialization, I mean, that's like getting a new spell in the hands of the mage. Being able to get something better because I'm a two-hander fighter or I'm a two-weapon fighter.
The martial artists get all these styles and stuff. Why can't I have a style? Type of thing, especially if people who run around with the pig stickers, they always want to do the fancy, moves and all that kind of stuff. I can understand that.
And a lot of really nice slottable proficiencies that you can pick up, spending weapon proficiencies to take that make your fighter a better fighter. Yes, it does make you a better fighter. Maybe a more complicated fighter, but it does make you a better fighter. I mean, for instance, my weakness. Excuse me, when I play a fighter is a two-handed weapon. I love me a bastard sword. A lot of my characters carry bastard swords. And what can you do with just, besides, taking it in both hands and coming down on somebody's head with it? There's a lot of stuff. The infamous two-weapon fighting. Yeah.
Weapon and shield. Well, you can't really use a shield with a two-handed weapon. But, you got feints, maneuvers, all that kind of stuff in this book. See, you have to deal with the size, and they talk about how one-handed weapon use two-handed, and vice versa.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's got stuff for people like me in it. I don't know. What do you usually full on when you run fighters? What do you usually equip them with?
Oh, it all depends on the fighter I'm running. I really have a spread of preferences. I do the two-weapon fighting and I have some house rules that I use for two-weapon fighting just to tweak it a touch more because of my personal real-world experience with two-weapon fighting and training for it. And I do, long weapons. I have the whole gamut. I like it all. And depending on the fighter I'm running, you'll see it all. And if it's high enough level fighter, that one guy may show you it all. But,
that's right.
And having the yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, I mean, but onto the people skill subject here, the expertise, it doesn't give a lot. It just gives a touch to the non-class guys to just get. All it really does is give them the attacks per round. It doesn't even give you any bonuses to hit or damage, like specialization.
Without taking away from the fighter.
Right. It just gives you the attacks per round instead of a +1 to hit and +2 to damage, like everyone assumes specialization gets you.
Right. Because I remember somebody just griping about, non-fighters. There was we.
I'm a 20th level. They take a look at Gandalf in Lord of the Rings and they see, okay, that's a guy who has expertise.
Oh yeah, he's swinging a freaking longsword with a staff.
Spear with a staff and sword, 2-weapon style, mad whirlwind fighting. He's only got 1 attack around because he's a 20th level mage. No. They need something. They need something to cover that, and expertise lets you do that.
Yeah. Okay. I agree, but like the way I look at it, you give fighters more attacks per round, and that's what it does to boost up. I don't care if you have 700 attacks per round. If you're 500 yards away from a level 20 mage and you're a level 20 fighter, and you get hit with a 20th level lightning bolt, you're still going to take as much damage. To me, it doesn't aid anymore. It makes them more effective in close combat melee, but to balance out against the wizard,
that's where against that wizard 300 yards away, you're going to take the fighter and make him a grand master of the longbow and put a friggin' couple of quarrels through that guy's head.
That's true. I mean, and that's true. You can do that. It's just
upgrades the damage dice that the weapon does. He increases the chance of knockdown when they're choosing their chosen weapon. He's already rocking the high mastery and mastery bonuses, so he's like rocking +3/+3 to hit and damage, and he scores his critical hits on 16 or higher rather than 18 or higher. That's a direct challenge to that mage's fireball.
True. Or you can always just do what I do and just give him a longsword with fireballs in it and.
Ryugen! I punched from 2 miles away. What is your power level?
I'm a fighter. I only get 2 attacks around. I'm a 20th level wizard. I'm 300 yards away. Watch me cast. Yeah, watch me hit you with a rod of negation and then cast fireball on my sword. Eat it.
I'm going to take 10 range increments of attack penalties and use the poison shuriken, yo.
But yeah, I do see the benefit of this section of the expertise and the mastery, and yeah, it does work. And
it lets you have that guy who I'm not just a guy who uses a sword. I'm a guy who uses a sword like a badass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the ultimate guy who uses a sword or 2 swords or a sword and a dagger or 2 daggers.
Yeah, I'm also noticing
he's just a little guy with 2 sticks.
Yeah, I'm also noticing that they've added something in here that a lot of second edition and first edition players won't know about, but to me, it's the beginning of third edition players will notice it. It's the beginning of feats. There's a special talent under local fighting styles called special talents, and they're weapon proficiency slots that you use to give yourself weapon proficiencies like fine balance, camouflage, ambidexterity, and it is the beginning of feats from 30.5 or third edition, but they do help. And I know a lot of people who, they play Rangers and they're like, I just need to get rid of that negative penalty and,
camouflage, ambush, ambidexterity. Yep. Create your own local fighting style. If you want to make a regional fighting style that has something to do with your chosen game world or your chosen game setting, make one.
Yep.
Yeah, and you'll also find that in the martial arts section, too. They've got talents in there also. Mm-hmm. You pick. That's one of the things I liked about the martial arts section. It's like, this is the way to do it. You got 4 basic martial arts. You take one, and then take the talents and customize it. And there's your martial art.
Yep.
Yeah, but I digress. Yeah, weapon expertise, mastery, very controversial subject, no matter what edition we're talking about. But we're going to talk about the one in a second. If you give us a shout out on thacoshammer@gmail.com and any of the I'm doing it again. Any of the other places.
Or give us a call at 405-806-0555.
Right.
I just had to throw the number in.
That's okay. I always like to throw the number in when I can remember it. So let's get in the book.
You ever go to school, stupid?
Yeah, and I come out the same way.
Is that your idea of an idea?
It's in the book.
It's in the book. All right, the battlefield. Where you fight.
That's not important at all, is it?
No. That is chapter 3, pages 56 to 69 in the same book, Player's Option Combat Tactics. This is all about terrain. And
you mean like when it's cloudy and it opens up and you get wet from when you're outside? Oh, terrain.
No, it's the terrain that goes.
Not the rain. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Oh, in here I thought we were talking about a train. Yeah, it's about your battlefield and how that affects combat. I mean, a lot of DMs really don't take that into account. Or should they?
Oh, they absolutely should. And the players need to take into account. And that is most of the things where suddenly a DM gets cornered by his play group because somebody came up with an idea about what they want to do, taking advantage of the battlefield.
Yep.
When the players look at the DM and say, can you describe that room to me one more time? And then they say, I want to try this. And the DM gets this little white sheet across their face and their eyes go big and they say rocks fall, everybody dies, because they don't know how to deal with it. Well, this will let you learn how to deal with it. These are things that every DM needs to know about the battlefields they present to make them interesting and varied, and it's things that every player needs to know so that they can take advantage of the battlefield and use it to protect the party and achieve the mission and have fun.
And to be fair to the DM, most players don't go describe everything here. They'll do something like they come up with a good idea. Is there X here? Yep. What's the grade of Y or something like that? And you got to pull something out of your butt, or look at the book here. I mean, they break it down to the four main basic battlefields: dungeon or cave, down or building, outside, and castles and fortifications. Mm-hmm. Now, and they break them all to different terrains like light forest, hills, marsh, covering encounter range, lines of fire, cover, what kind of footing you have, what kind of obstacles you're going to have, and any unusual characteristics about this terrain.
Yeah, the other
they
thing
even cover ships and taverns. Well, yes.
to add into what you two started with, I mean, DMs also should look into this also for knowing environments, because you have a bunch of players who don't really care about what's going on, and they're playing Munchkin, and they're essentially they're essentially running through the dungeon corridor, kicking in a door, seeing the monster and charging you to attack. Well, they don't realize that the cavern floor is covered in moss. Oh, guess what? You have a footing problem now. No, wait, I don't have any penalties to my attack. Yes, you do. Why? Did you look around the room before you charged? No, I just charged the orc.
Have you had a fight in an ice cave recently?
Yeah, exactly.
Watch that movie Caveman. That's an awesome fight in an ice cave.
Yes, it is. And other players, you might draw on your map. Oh, there's a swamp right here. Oh, okay, well, I'm going to charge my 6 squares or however many squares or hexes I can run, and I'm going to attack it. No, you're not. What do you mean I can't reach it? See, you're in a swamp, my friend, and this is where the DM doesn't have to have that white, ghostly face and rocks fall, everybody dies, because you'll have the information here to use for variables for the environment.
How far away from these light woods do I have to run before they lose line of sight on me? Well,
the nice thing is it's shortened to the point, so you can go, okay, boom, 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 this happens. This is what you have. You tripped over a rock because these are around here, that kind of thing. They even talk about town streets. And, medieval fantasy town streets aren't the greatest things to walk on, whether they're cobblestones or just dirt.
Yep.
It's almost like fighting in the wilderness, almost, a lot of times. They talk about unusual conditions, limited visibility. Water.
That never happens.
Of course not. Fighting while climbing, aerial combat, combat on other planes. Mm-hmm. I recently flashed back full on to a recent show we had about you talking about Blue Dragon's lair that was covered in ankle deep water.
Yes.
And, just throw his electrical attack. Are you wearing plate mail or chain or any kind of metal? Well, you're in water. You know what water does?
Wearing metal doesn't really matter at that point. It's right there in the player's handbook about a lightning bolt in water has the area of effect of a fireball. A fireball is 33 10 by 10 cubes. And if you're standing in ankle-deep water, let's make 10 by 10 cubes and spread that over that zone. And now you have boom!
Yes, but I'm wearing my high-hard rubber boots.
You better hope you are. Let me see that character sheet.
Yes, I specifically bought these in the major city. The cobbler of these boots says LL Bean. They go up to my hips.
And another reason to shop at Aurora's Whole Realms catalog.
There you go.
That's true. But anyway, they've got it all here. I mean, you want to find can I find? It's not like can I find a snake here in this swamp? More like, how deep is it? Am I waist deep in the water? Trying to fight that lizard man.
Yep.
Oh, don't fumble. You're going to end up face first, and I don't even want to think about that.
Drowning your opponent in waist deep or deeper water.
Yeah.
People fight this way all the time. I don't have any silver weapons to kill the werewolf, but we can drown his ass.
That's true. We can. And the one that gets me is fighting while climbing. I mean, it's bad enough that the goblins over on the other side are shooting arrows at me. Now I got them coming out of remember the cover of the survival guide? That kind of thing. I'm just looking at that. The guy on the cliff and all these demons, all these imps start coming out and hanging on to him. And he's trying to pull his long sword and he can't get it out and all that kind of crap. That's going to happen to you.
Gelatinous cube with a charge attack. I've made it happen.
What do? Whip a couple of haste spells on it?
No. The party was climbing up a 45 to 60 degree slope.
Mm-hmm.
And they heard overhead in the cavern and weren't sure what to make of it and started scrambling to the side to cover left and right. And one guy didn't. And he took the natural 20 from the gelatinous cube sliding down the slope.
Very nice.
Ended up.
And you hear this very muffled woo. Yeah, they like doing that too. Cool. Okay, that I understand. A gelatinous cube charging down a slope. That's about the only way they can charge. But yeah, I like this section. This is one of the sections I like because it's just quick and dirty. It's not like you're getting this big old.
And it's information you can use in any edition of any game you ever run, just to be aware of, to make your encounters better, to make them
that is right
as a GM, to make them dealt with better as a player.
Yeah. This is the best example of D&D is D&D is D&D I can think of. As far as like this, I'd use this on my basic game because it's just information and it's short and sweet. It's no big. No big systems to do something. It's like, yeah, there's a tree here. It's the only tree within miles in this plain. Yep. Can I hide in it? Go ahead. So you do with what you will. And you can tell us about it at thacoshammer@gmail.com and the other places. Yep. Let's go on to Rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0. Okay, this is a no-brainer. Static initiative or changing initiative? What do you say, guys?
Chaos everywhere. I love it when it changes.
Oh, okay. That's one vote for changing. How about you, Corey?
I've actually switched recently to static initiative per encounter.
Well, again, you can also deal with it two ways. You can do static or changing initiative for everybody individually, or you can do it as a group.
Right.
Either way.
True.
Yeah, I use static initiative, obviously adding your weaponing speed or your casting time to your initiative roll. And a lot of my players find it better, and I find it better because it lends better to those who are playing a fighter mage and want to switch between I'm casting lightning bolt, now I'm switching to my sword or my dagger kind of thing.
That's true.
You're changing. You have one number that you've rolled, and you just need to change the modifiers to that roll. And yeah, you could just say, all you have to do is roll another die to get another number. But I prefer it this way. It makes it easier.
And this is, of course, talking about it as for a combat, however long it's going to last. You only have to roll initiative once, and you just deal with the results.
Correct.
That's right.
Versus every round doing a different initiative.
Correct.
I've been doing for the basic game. I've been doing static. The bad guys roll, the good guys roll, and then I go per dex. And I figured, well, that's good enough for that. But I'm kind of like leaning towards, can I do static for the bad guys and individual for the players?
Yeah.
You mean regardless? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. You're the DM.
I know that, but I'm weighing. What?
I do kind of a split static changing, because I do my initiative for my enemies by sets or groups. If I have like 4 or 5 different types of combatants, I'll roll initiative for the skeletons, and I'll roll initiative for the wizard, and I'll roll initiative for the priest and his minion.
I do that as well. Yes.
Okay. Now,
but if you have 5 player characters going up against a dragon, you only need to roll one die for the dragon. But if he's got the dragon and he's got 5 Enspelled warriors, minions, those 5 get 1 roll for their initiative, in my opinion. I do group,
Or someone falls into the hatchling pit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the battlefield.
But that begs the question: what about weapon speed? If you want to use weapon speed,
always use weapon speed.
I propose if you want to use weapon speed and you're using static initiative. If you're doing it the way I do static initiative for the PCs and then go by dex, add it to hit.
The weapon speed?
Yeah, instead of adding it to the initiative, because they only got 1 initiative and you got like 3 or 4 characters with weapon speeds. And if you're doing static initiative, add it to their hit.
I'm actually a little more liberal. I've used house ruled where I've let people choose, depending on how they're fighting or what they're fighting with, to either use their strength or their dex mod to modify their initiative when using weapon speeds. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, if you're hauling that 2-handed sword around and you got your weapon speed of 10, I think it's more impressive if you've got that 18 double out strength to adjust that initiative than if you have your 12 dex because you thought it was a dump stat.
That's true.
That's true.
I've never thought of dex as a dump stat. Unlike charisma. I mean, no, did I say that? Sorry.
Dex is a great dump stat when you have an AC of 0 and you're a half-orc fighter in full plate mail.
That's true.
Who needs Dex?
Clank, clank, I'm a tank.
I feel I have all these bards giving me dirty looks.
Don't worry. You know you're going to love it.
Oh, the half orcs back, great. Oh boy. Anyway, static. That's my stand.
When I fired into the melee.
Using static initiative, you're pretty much locked into it. And if you ended up with the dice being unpleasant to you, like Corey said at the beginning, how the dice killed his party or a party member, sometimes the dice will do that. And if you don't give the dice another chance to give that party back its advantage, you end up screwing a party, and you can end up with more TPKs under static initiative than giving them the opportunity to retake the initiative with changing.
Right.
True. Well, I wouldn't change in the middle of an adventure. I mean, if it doesn't work for me, I was just like, okay, hey guys, let's do this. Let's do individual this time.
There's a reason why I do mind the way I do it is because I've been using the rule in the book of step by step in combat how you're supposed to do it. You declare the monster's action. You roll initiative. You have the initiative order. You declare your monster's actions. Then you declare the player's actions. And then you do set actions. With the monsters declaring their actions first, this guy's going to attack this guy. This guy's going to attack this guy. If you know you're fourth in line and this guy says he's coming at you and you were about to shoot a bow at somebody, you're going to change your mind. It gives the player, whether they're last in line, actually more options as to what they're going to do, depending after, because they're going to be able to see what everybody else is doing before them.
That's true. I've also seen initiative played where it's static initiative and it's the old state what you're doing. The fastest guy states what it's doing to the slowest guy, and then it goes in reverse order. Slowest guy first. Or wait a minute.
Yeah, I understand. You flip that.
Flip that. Fastest guy first. The slowest guy is the first one who says what he's doing.
Right.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I've done it that way. I've seen it done that way too, and that works pretty good.
Yeah.
Unless you don't get the players to go, let's see.
But and I know it's more dynamic to have the players, if they mess up and they roll a 10 on their initiative die and then they add their 8 weapon speed for their longbow and they're like, great, I have an 18. I'm going second to last. This sucks. But if you think about it, I don't care if you're Snake freaking Plissken or you're Conan the Barbarian. There's going to be times where combat's going to start and you're just not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
it's going to happen.
Sometimes even our greatest soldiers out there in Iraq, they got
somebody gets the drop on you. I know.
Somebody will, and you know what? It rattles you for that combat until you're like, holy jeez, I totally wasn't ready for that. Some people can muster and the forces and come back to it, but others can't.
And in combat and tactics, they do have a difference in the 5 basic steps every combat round. Step 1, monster action determination. Step 2, PC action declaration. Step 3 is initiative.
Right. Wow.
And then you find out if your plan that you were trying to do is going to work or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and
and then resolution of actions in a round resolution.
What's the saying? No battle plan survives the actual encounter.
Vaguely.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
No plan survives contact.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. Well, you guys tell us all about it. THACOshammer@gmail.com and all the other places, as I've said before. Let's go into our last segment, Loaded for Bear.
Bet you don't have a pair of these, Earthling.
And for the big critters, sometimes you got to bring out the nuclear weaponry.
Loaded for Bear.
Loaded for Bear, the beat sticks, the blunt stuff, staves, clubs, nunchuck. Would you go so far as to say maces?
Sure.
Okay. Maces, whatever. You'll find those, of course, in the Player's Handbook and that gigantic list in Player's Option, Combat, and Tactics.
And some more in your Arms and Equipment Guide.
Of course. You cannot get enough of this stuff.
I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, but when I do, I want to hit it really hard.
That's right. That's right. This is the stuff you just break skulls over.
Always need to have those around for those skeletons.
Have skeletons and other undead like zombies and things like that. And it's probably a lot of characters' first weapon. I mean, you're playing a wizard. What you going to take? Staff. What skill are you going to take? Quarterstaff. Okay.
Would you
That's
like
what
to
I do.
use both ends of that quarterstaff? Take some expertise.
That's right.
Ooh.
I was surprised. Yeah. They described the quarterstaff in Combat and Text. I was surprised they said it was metal on both ends.
They do. They clad them in metal. It's not just a stick, although it can be a stick. But the official battle quarterstaff is, kind of stands out. But the other thing about this is your beat sticks, your staves, your clubs, your tie stick fighting, whatever it is you want to do, those are the weapons that you can get away with having undercover. Because they don't look like weapons. It's my walking stick.
Mm-hmm.
It's my threshing tool. Oh, wait, he's just a little oriental guy with 2 sticks on chains.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Grandmaster, nunchuck. I'm not going to mention that out loud, but hey.
If his name is Miyagi or Yoda, I don't want anything to do with him. But yeah, it's the basic beat-down tool.
Yes, it is.
If you get unarmed in the woods, you can always get one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a reason clerics carry this exclusively, type of thing.
Even underground. You may not have trees, but you can snap off a stalactite or a stalagmite. Now you've got a club. Maybe even a spear tip.
I want to add one in here that has been lost to the annals of Dragon Magazine. It's from first edition, but I've actually brought it into my world, and I'll read it to you. It's from the May 91 issue of Dragon here. It's a fairly common weapon among older houses of the bearded folk, but it's not often found in the use of other races. Massive weapon in anyone's hands, a dwarven war club is a large steel reinforced weapon appearing much like a mace, doubly thick at the striking end than at the tail. War clubs are made of heavy wood, iron lead core, inlaid with round or slightly pointed studs of steel.
I've seen that weapon in Oriental Adventures.
It's in anybody else's hands, it's a one-handed club, but in a dwarven hand, it's a two-handed club. But the thing that I like about it is dwarves don't commonly offer such weapons for sale, though members of their own race may purchase an unadorned war club for 10 gold. The bestowing of a dwarven war club among non-dwarf is an honor similar to the giving of elven chainmail to an outsider by elves. So this is essentially the equivalent of elven chainmail for dwarves, as far as prestige and honor. It's a really cool weapon. It does, dwarven war club 2 to 8 and 2 to 7.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's a nice little dwarven club. It's one of the more unique weapons I'll use when I'm playing a dwarven fighter or dwarven cleric. Yeah, I give him a dwarven war club.
Nice.
Now these what issue of Dragon was that?
That was May of '91.
Okay, alrighty. I think I'm going to be looking up that because I'm surprised something like that hasn't made it in there.
Well, it's in a section called New Weapons for Old. It says add an exotic edge to combat for AD&D First Edition.
Okay.
But it's got some pretty cool weapons in here. But we're not touching on any of these right now. We're touching on the clubs and the
sticks. Beat sticks.
General damage range for these runs from your D4s up through your 2D4s, 2D8s, D12, D8s, D6s is your general range that you can assume for your standard weapon, but there are more and there are less depending on your type.
Like the Great Tetsubo.
Oh yeah.
Adventures.
Yeah. And if you pack some good strength behind those things, you can do as much damage as a two-headed sword.
If you have a high enough strength, you can be whipping out some massive damage with a club.
I mean, I'm playing a fighter in Thorkey's. I'm going to be doing one at Thorkey's playtest, and I come up with a fighter, 1892 strength, gets a +2 to hit, +5 to damage. You better believe you better run away when I come at you with a club. I can bet you with the rolling pin, you better run.
You get a fast little squirrely guy who comes at you with 2 nunchucks or 2 3-foot sticks in hand, whirling and twirling with them. You better be ready for a beatdown that you're not going to believe.
Oh man!
And of course, the other benefit of the clubs, the beat sticks, is if you're using some of the other options from your combat and tactics, like the knockdown rules. Generally, your blunt weapons give you your better knockdown die.
That's right. I had a dwarf one time that had 18 percentile strength, something obnoxious, and they started calling him the headsman because he had a blunt weapon. I think it was a hammer, but he managed to knock the heads off people with a blunt weapon.
That's called golf. You bury them up to the neck and you take their head off with a great big club. It's how we play whack-a-mole or a mole man.
Okay. But yeah, so, like I said, they are nothing to be sneezed at. I'd love to have some of that Dwarven War Club, though.
Yeah, that Oriental Adventures game, the game we're playing, where I'm playing the martial artist, not the Oriental Adventures game, but this second edition game that we're playing.
Brian's game. Yeah.
Yes, DM Brian's game. We're gonna. I'm definitely gonna be having a quarterstaff for my drunken master.
No 3-sectional staff?
Not yet. I'm just talking to start off with. We're gonna start with a quarterstaff.
Actually, it's not going to quarterstaff, but I'm not.
Oh, nice.
Now tell me this quarterstaff or this drunken master. Just to sidetrack this a bit, drunken master. Now, is this the drunken style?
Yes.
Or is it the drunken? No. Okay, because I remember playing 3.5 a drunken master. Yeah. Okay.
Special prestige class, I guess it is, or whatever.
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
It's been so long. Yes, there is a prestige class for drunken master.
For 3.5.
I'm going to go into it and look at some of the special abilities and see if I can take some names and stuff and add it to the generic, what they do in first and second edition of soft, hard, soft, whatever, to see if we can actually flavor it up a little bit.
And as you know, they take drunken master literally. The more you drink, the better you get.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to keep you boozed up, I guess.
Yep.
I figure the better you get after you drink and you have the hangover, actually. I get a +5 when I'm drinking, but I get a +7 with a hangover.
Sweet.
Anyway, yeah. So you're going to be taking quarterstaff. You're going to be beating the hell out of everybody.
You're going to go with the 2-weapon style or anything like that to end up working both ends?
Yep, definitely. If he lets it, yep, I'm down.
Okay, cool. Well, you'll find it in there. You'll find it in the PHP. You'll find these in the PHP and Arms and Equipment Guide, of course.
And in every bar brawl after the tables start breaking.
That's right. Not using the unarmed combat rules from Players Option. Anyway, can you imagine how long that would take if you did a bar brawl per those rules?
Oh no, it's a grappling fight! Quick, somebody start breaking tables. We need clubs.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
This is why people pull knives in bar fights in D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
In D&D, they pull them nowadays, especially if you start hitting on a girl playing. I mean, yeah, I've heard that they pull knives nowadays in bar fights.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see the scars when we meet up. Okay. That's about it. We're going to be closing this Splat book here. And I hope you learned whatever you need to learn from the option package, player's option, combat and tactics. And you know where to find us. You'll find us right here with another Splat book. We're going to get this game going. So why don't we say goodbye, Corey?
Goodbye, Corey.
See ya. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Full on. You want to say bye-bye?
We'll catch you again, Gamer Nation.
Oh, great. And I'm DM Glen, and we'll catch you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye.
Hey, can I play that wizard with the 2 wands?
Why do you keep asking me that?
Because it's awesome. We need more of that.
Dual-wielding wands?
You're going to have him in full on with his fireball platform over here. We're not going to have a forest left.
That's all right. It's fine.
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.